Hello guys, this is Ranger Cassidy's fiance here. My name is Larenzie, if you have not yet to meet me. We've had quite a few quests for a podcast regarding all of our supernatural encounters and stories. So today, instead of doing it over and over again, we've decided to get together on a podcast-like thing and tell you it in detail from the beginning.
Now, I will mention this is up until October 14th, 2023. So if anything happened after this, it's not included and will be amended later.
Alrighty. So it started back when it was 2022, August, when school started. I enrolled in a school to get my GED, and we had a lot of other students there. Well, I made two friends, so we decided to all go out and hang out. We had a wonderful day. We went to the mall. We went to a community center and kind of hung out, where we got to run on this thing above the water. But then, before we decided to go home, we went towards an area where one of the girls with us lived. Well, this area was not a good area, not like it's hood or anything. This area is in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking nothing but woods. So when you go to this area, you're going in an area where there is absolutely nothing but woods. I mean, our phones went into SOS. There was no way in hell. Basically, if something happened, we were the police, basically. So if something were to happen to us out there, like, this is an area where somebody would hide a dead body and nobody would find it. Well, we decided to go out there, and the friend that lived out there decided to take us to a river in the area, and we went. Well, while we went, we started walking to the river. It was very dark. And all of a sudden, give me 1 second, sorry. All of a sudden, we got down to water, kind of FaceTime my cousin, and then some weird, crazy noises happened, like something was in the water. Well, we're in Florida, so I thought it was an alligator, you know? A lot of noise, most likely going to be an alligator. So that's what I really pushed it off to be, was an alligator. Well, after it got out of the water and we started walking back, we started smelling something. And it didn't smell like a dead animal. It didn't smell like a dead body. It smelled like pure, utter death. When I tell you death, I mean the definition of death is what the smell smelled like. Well, on the way back, we would walk, and then we'd hear something walk behind us. Right? So as we're walking, we hear something stepping with us. Well, we decide to stop, because we're like, what the fuck? And every time we stop, the thing would stop a split second after we all stopped our steps. So we heard crunching behind us. Well, we got back to the vehicle, and we decided to sit in the vehicle and kind of watch the area for a bit, and we thought we started seeing stuff. Well, my other friend and I decided to drop this friend off and head back towards our homes, because we live fairly close to each other. Well, at this time, this friend and I went to a gas station at the end of the road to kind of pee. I'm going to be honest, we went to pee. Well, after that happened, we got in the car and we just went to a parking lot and decided to sit and talk for a bit and figure out, what the hell happened. Well, we got out and we looked at my car, and there was a super weird looking handprint. It looked like a hand in a claw motion that smacked the vehicle, because on the way back, I was going way above the speed limit. I will not say definitely what speed, but let's just say enough to, if I hit something, it would have died instantly. Well, we hit something, and we stopped. We drove back to make sure it wasn't a person or anything like that, and it was nobody. It was nothing there. So we got out, and that's when we got into the Big Lots parking lot. That's when we realized we didn't hit anything, but something hit us, because the whole car moved once we were hit. Well, after we inspected the car, my grandfather called and wanted me home, so I kind of, dropped her off and went home. It was really my first time really hanging out away from home with a big group, with a group of friends that they haven't met yet. So they were kind of like, he was like, just come home so I can go to bed. So I went home, dropped her off, went home. Well, that night I had a nightmare about things chasing me in the woods, and about 4 to 5 nights to a week later, I continued having nightmares about things chasing me around my aunt's house and in the woods, and just a bunch of freaky stuff, basically, is what was going on here. Well, a couple nights later, I had a nightmare about a little girl in a white dress standing in my grandma's kitchen. Now, there's been past with my grandmother's house. They built it there, so nobody has died there. In the house, on the land we are not sure of. But basically, my sisters had a couple encounters, my cousins had a couple encounters, and I've had some weird shit happen, but nothing as this weird. So I had a dream, a little girl in a white dress was standing there, and 4 days later, my sister came out in the living room and just looked at my grandma and I and said, I saw this little girl in a white dress standing in my bedroom. Well, that freaks me the hell out. So I was like, okay, I kind of just brushed it off, put it off, accepting the truth, I guess I could say. Well, then it was a few months later, I didn't go back, and then I got with your lovely Ranger Cassidy here. Well, we went to eat with my cousin, her best friend Patrick, her and we all went out to eat. A couple days before this, I told Cassidy about my encounters I had in the woods with my friends, and she kind of brushed it off. She thought it was crazy. She didn't believe me.
I was never a believer of this kind of crap. Like, I've heard of it happening, but I was never a believer of it. So I was kind of very skeptical.
Well, I even looked up, because there's a case around here where there was this group of people who went camping. Now, let me tell you this story, because this goes along with the first one. A group of friends went camping, right? While they went camping, they started smelling really bad smell. Now, they were drinking, but they started smelling a horrible smell, like death. And they started seeing this creature kind of peeking at them past trees. Now, we thought we saw things looking at us, but I think we really fed into each other at that moment in time. But this thing chased this group of people out of the woods, and since that day, they never went back. The same river we went to was connected exactly the same spot that happened to them, basically. It was just a couple more miles up the river. Well, since that happened, after that happened, we had our talk. A few days later, I took Cassidy out there, because I was like, I want to just hit the road. Cassidy thought it was a town road that was well lit up, when realistically, this road was in the middle of fucking nowhere. Now, we rode down the road for a long while, and we got to the point where in SOS. I felt weird. I had a headache. I felt nauseous. I felt like I wanted to throw up. But we saw a red raccoon. I'm not talking like the raccoon was hurt and bleeding. I'm talking it was a crimson red, fully red raccoon run in front of the car and into the woods. Now, before that, we saw a little deer. It was a baby deer, like little old Bambi, but it had white eyes. When I say white, I mean white. I mean ice white. We'll slowly watch us go. So after that, we told Patrick and Kate about our experience on the road. Now, Kate and I, we used to just drive this road for fun. We both never saw anything, experienced anything together, and we were out there at night one time. But her parents always called us back before it got too late into the night. Well, we took Patrick out there. Now,
that was a mistake. Just going to say that was a mistake.
Yes. So we went riding down dirt roads for fun in Cassidy's sickmobile, because you feel every bump in that car. Well, we went riding around dirt roads. We got on this person's property that we should not have been on. It was like this man-made river thing that was kind of washed out, so I wanted to get out and walk it. So we started walking it. What we saw is what people call SWs. It's the real name of it is a skinwalker. We don't really like saying that word or using that word, so we shall not say it again. Patrick, we all heard dogs barking, and they say they can, do dog barking and mimic things, but I already messed this up, so we'll go back to the first time, because Cassie and I parked at the gas station at the end of the road, and a crackhead guy that had gray eyes approached her. He came inside and looked at me, and then he looked at me like he wanted to hurt me. But we stood there and we looked at each other, and then he looked down at his phone and then took off running.
Because to me, he came out in the car and he said, hey, can I have a ride? Can I get a ride, out of here? I said, you better back away from my car right now.
Now, for me, he just looked at me, really didn't say anything. He gave me a very dirty look, and he didn't look, he looked very fucked up, is the nicest way to put it. He looked mentally, he looked fucked up. He didn't even look human. Well, we took Patrick out there. Patrick stopped when the dog started barking and said he didn't feel right, so we kind of went back to the car. And we drove around and went down a couple more dirt roads as the sun was setting. Well, at this time, Patrick passed out, and he was sweaty, passed out. I didn't know if he was having a medical issue, so I said, Cassie, we might need to take him to the hospital. As soon as I mentioned hospital and leaving that road, Patrick sat up. I'm talking head down, sat straight up quickly, and his eyes open, and he started talking to us. He was not acting himself. He was talking differently. He was acting differently. Well, we kept riding the road, and every time we mentioned leaving, he'd sit in a trance looking out the window. Patrick would not answer, would not look at us. But as soon as we'd mention leaving that road, he'd look over real quick and say, I'm okay. Well, we kept going down the road, and then I started getting manipulated from what had happened to Patrick, and I started acting out. Well, we finally got off that road, and as soon as we got off that road, Patrick snapped right back into reality. As soon as we hit city limits, he snapped right back too. Now, he felt sick. Well, I have a pendulum. We won't get into that, but let's just say we went to my house and talked to the pendulum after I got very sick at a church parking lot and started dry heaving. We went there, and let's just say we had advice to go back. We went back to where it all started, the river my friends and I went to. Now, once we got there, Patrick and I communicated with them where we would relax our body and have pokes and sticks and stabs and communicating with what was going on there. And Patrick kind of made peace, kind of explained we're sorry. I said sorry, and we were on our way out. Now, this is what Patrick and Cassidy told me what happened. Now, on our way there, I just sat there and I was staring straight. I wasn't responding. I was just staring straight. Last thing I remember is the song If I Die Young. And it was If I Die Young, Bury Me in Satin. And then that's the last thing I remember, besides waking up off that road. Well, Cassidy said I told her to turn around. All of a sudden, I was sitting there straight, and I just said, we're not going the right way. We're going the wrong way. We need to turn around. Well, Cassie, being my girlfriend of the time, not fiance, listened to me and turned around. On the way there, Patrick put two and two together, because Patrick was like, Cassidy, we're going the wrong way. Cassidy, we're going the wrong way. But Cassidy was listening to me. Well, Cassidy's middle name is Grace. I could not say grace. I couldn't say anything religious relating to God whatsoever. Apparently is what they told me. They also stated my eyes, my pupils, basically my eyes were black. And I was just acting out, and I was very scary. I kept giggling, looking at Patrick, saying, we're coming for you. We want Patrick, not you, and all this creepy stuff. Well, we got off the road again, went to a church. I was very sick at a church. Patrick was freaked out. I was freaked out. Cassidy was freaked out. So we all said, we're never going to go on that road again. We went on a road connected to that road that gets us to that road, because that road has a high school, my old middle school, a skating rink, basically skate park. I mean, the road's very frequently used every day. So we didn't see harm of just driving down it one night. Because we go on these late night drives, basically. Well, I don't really remember what happened here. Something happened, and they got out of a car, and I told them they're coming for you, so they got back in, and we got off that road. We got on another road, and I was fine for a bit, and then apparently I was not fine, and they pulled into a church parking lot. This time I did not get sick. This time I got very aggressive. And Patrick jumped out of the car while it was moving. It was going like 10 miles per hour, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was fast because he seemed unharmed. And we have videos of this. I burned Cassidy's arm. I grabbed her arm with my hand and I held her. And I had a grip and I was laughing crazily and I burned her. She still has burn marks on her arm from where I grabbed her with my hand. I burned my girlfriend.
It's now like scaling over with like psoriasis, but like it's not healing, bro.
And it won't heal, it won't go away. But I burned her. Now, after this, we kind of dropped Patrick off after we talked for a bit, and then Cassidy and I came back here. Then we went down a road. This is our latest encounter together. This next one, I don't really know what it was, the very, very last. Cassidy took us home down this road because she wanted to do a new road. I said, Cassidy, this isn't a good idea. You need to turn around. We need to go the other way. This way, we're going to see some shit this way. Cassidy being Cassidy, didn't want to listen to me. She knew what she was doing. It's Cassidy way or the highway that night. So we went down this road. Well, I got really tired all of a sudden. I had a headache. I didn't feel good. So I went to bed and I was not able to be woken up until we got back to the apartment. During that time, Cassidy saw a couple of things. Now, before she explains what she has seen, I'm going to explain to y'all what all we have seen together on our trips. Patrick and I have seen this tall, slinky thing that looks like a humanoid with very long arms and long, very big hands, but its arms go down past its knees. Very, very tall. Cassidy has seen the crackhead guy. I've seen him once. Besides that, the only person who's really seen him is Cassidy. Cassidy and I have seen a red animal. Patrick has not seen a red animal. That is what we've all seen, some together, some separate. Now, Cassidy, explain what you saw.
So I seen these cats are killing me. If you hear something in the background, it's cats. But I seen a zebra striped deer with red stripes, which is horrible. Bailey, hush. I seen a long slinky thing in a field. And I also seen the same crackhead guy about, 30 miles from where we normally seen the guy. So he was definitely out at a stop sign. And that's when I couldn't get her to wake up and I was freaking the hell out.
Yes, so this happened. Well, we got here, we called Patrick, kind of filled him in on what happened, and Patrick did research. It's very normal for couples who have had experiences like all of us to be driving down a road, or not even with our experience, but driving down a road that's remote. One of them gets tired, not feeling good to go to bed, and not be able to be woken up until reaching home or their destination. Well, at this time, basically after a paranormal encounter happens or a possession happens and the one who fell asleep gets very aggressive. Well, not even going to sugarcoat it. On the timeline that it stated, the exact same thing happened. I got very aggressive. I was throwing things, making messes, pouring water everywhere. I was basically a menace.
This woman threw a Viener at me. Yeah, so this bitch was throwing Vieners across my goddamn apartment. I'm literally throwing Vieners across our apartment. And just all kinds of crazy shit, throwing water and all kinds of shit. So, yeah, that's kind of the last little encounter that we had. Was there anything else?
Yes, so we went camping and Cassidy went to go get me steak sauce because I really didn't want to eat my steak without steak sauce and all this other stuff. And when that happened, I had an eerie feeling. Called some friends. They stayed on the phone with me. But a little bit later, more like after we went to bed and the next morning, the dog woke up, kind of went crazy. I was up, sent Patrick a video. We thought we saw something in it. I couldn't wake Cassidy up. When I got on the phone with Patrick, Cassidy woke up. And then, yeah. So that's really that.
So now every stream, when you guys ask us like stream questions about like what is something we've encountered like this, that's our story. And I hope it ends there. Thanks for sharing, babe.